Hi everybody, I'm Steve McDonald and this is your Investors Daily Edge midweek market update. In focus today, the two best indicators of what the market will be doing in the next 6 months. A lumber company's CEO's take on the housing market, small business sentiment, some of the best money minds in the business can't figure out the treasury bond market, and of course the Slap in the Face Award. First up, the two best indicators that I know of what the market and the economy will be doing in the next 6 months have nothing to do with technicals or fundamentals. As you may have come to expect from me, I have my own way of looking at these things. The first best indicator that I know of is what is shipping doing, meaning trucking, railroad. I had a client when I was still a broker who was the vice president of a big national trucking company. I would check with him every few months to find out what was happening in his business. Now, if his transfer warehouses were full, the economy and the market did well 6 months down the line. It was almost an infallible indicator. I did this for years. The reverse of that is also true. If his warehouses were empty, business was bad down the road. Okay, the CEO of CSX, the railway company, another shipping company, by the way, said this week that his company sees no overhanging inventories in the economy, sees continued strong revenues and earnings, and their business is booming. Earnings blew through expectations, revenues are up, and they see the same thing for the rest of this year. Now, I have every reason to believe this is as accurate a forecast of activity for the next 6 months as the trucking contact I used to use in the 90s. The second indicator of positive things to come in the market, the idiots who are coming out of the woodwork predicting Dow down to 1,000. Whenever these folks emerge from whatever holes they've been hiding in for the past few years, it is a sure, almost certain sign we've bounced off the bottom and we're on our way up. Now, there have been several articles in the past few weeks calling for cataclysmic drops in the markets, the Dow at ridiculous levels, and just the usual doomsday bull. Look, we're in a tight spot, but it is not a death spiral. There will be major ups and downs, and we need to stick to our basic principles of buying in the dips and using trailing stops to protect our gains. But it is not the end of the world. If you buy into these doomsday routine and scenarios, you will effectively cut yourself out of any gains this year. Next up, a lumber company's CEO's take on housing. Now, to appreciate how good this information is that this CEO gave out this week, you have to understand that a CEO may not make any misleading public statements about his company or its stock. And it's a very serious offense. I mean, so you could end up in jail, technically. So, when the CEO of one of the largest lumber producers in the country that derives much of its revenue from the housing market says we hit the bottom of the housing trough in the summer of 2009, I believe him. That's exactly what the CEO of Weyerhaeuser said this week. Weyerhaeuser has seen a significant pickup in activity in the housing side of their business since mid-2009, and it's continued right through the first 2 quarters of 2010, and they see it continuing for the rest of this year. It's important to note this pickup is from the trough of the crash, not a return to the crazy years prior to the crash. Now, I've been pounding the table about the home builders for a few months. The news is now moving into the spotlight, as I told you it would. Don't miss this one. You're going to make money here. Small business sentiment. Small business sentiment is down again, and again, the president of the National Federation of Independent Business says Washington is scaring everyone into inactivity. Tax increases, spending, and deficit are too much for the small business guy to handle, so he's doing nothing. And nothing equals no hiring. We have lost 3.6 million jobs since the trendy trio, Pelosi, Reid, and Frank, pushed the stimulus package through Congress. Now they're talking about more stimulus. The problem, as I have said since day one of the stimulus talk, is they have spent it all in the wrong places. 96% of that stimulus package was spent on social spending, only 4% on infrastructure. It can't work this way. Let's hope we get a stall on this until after the fall elections. Now, what's with the treasury markets? Two of the members of the president's own fiscal commission said this week they can't figure out why treasuries are so popular and so overpriced. They cited what they now calling the cancer, which is our national debt, as one of the problems. Now, their only explanation or guess is that it is a spillover from the European fear inflation of their debt crisis, and no one seems to know where to put their money. The combination of the two are driving these things crazy. This should sound familiar because I said the same thing a month ago. Be very careful of treasuries, and especially long-term treasuries or any bonds with long maturities. They are a trap waiting to be sprung on the uninformed. The bond trader, which I run, only buys ultra-short maturities, high-quality bonds, and at a discount when we can. Now, the two recommendations this week had a minimum return of over 10% on one and almost 9% on another. And that's in an investment that has a 99.7% success ratio over an 80-year period. Now, if you're looking for a safer place in the stock market to put your money, but you still want to earn stock market returns or beat it, look at the bond trader. I guarantee it. And it's that time again, the slap in the face award. It goes, well, I don't know who to give this one to be honest with you. There's so many idiots involved in this. There's this Monaco native named Mr. Feliciani. There's the French government, and then there's the Swiss banks. Anyway, this guy, Mr. Feliciani, who worked for a branch of a Swiss bank on the operations side, it seems this enterprising gent stole a lot of information about people who had money hidden from their government's tax folks in Swiss bank accounts. In fact, people in 180 countries worldwide. He has all this information he stole. He sent an email to a number of tax authorities throughout Europe offering the information to them. Now, it's unclear if he would have been paid for it. He says no, nobody quite knows the answer. It gets better. Then he and his accomplice, using fictitious names, traveled to the Middle East and offered this information for sale to a number of banks in the Middle East. Then the information showed up in the possession of the French government, who claims they have it legally, and they're not prosecuting Mr. Feliciani, who is now hiding out in France, a free man. Now, the French actually raided Mr. Feliciani's home and confiscated all this information on his laptop. They now refuse to give it back to the banks in Switzerland who it was stolen from. Now, by the way, France does intend to give this information to the other countries that have citizens listed in there so they can track down the account holders for a discussion, their words, a discussion about their taxes. Now, this whole story is worthy of an 8-year-old. It's full of twists, turns, lies, fake companies, fake names, obvious lies, and statements like, I stole the information, but it's okay because I didn't profit. Well, whatever. It's been going on, though, for 2 years. So if you have any money hidden in Swiss accounts, you may very well be getting a phone call from the tax folks in the near future. I hope it's not you. This just keeps getting better, doesn't it? That's about it. We'll see you Friday and the weekend wrap up for everybody here at IDE. Thanks for being a part of us. We'll see you next time.